So this is chapter 13, lesson 2. And if you were in class, what we just talked about before was if you have 2 points, you can find the equation of a line. And if I go into 3 dimensions with a plane, then I actually need 3 points. So what we're going to try and do is find the equation of the plane given those 3 points. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to use a very clever method for actually finding that. We're not going to find the equation of the plane directly. What we're going to do is find the direction vector for the normal. And then if I have that, I can use that to figure out what my answer is. Now, there's a key formula that we're going to use that's going to help us to do that. But first of all, we're going to find how we get from 2 points. So I'm going to work out the vector from A to B, and also from A to C. Now, I could also work out B to C if I wanted to, but I just chose to do these 2 points. So you could either say, how do you get from 1 to 2, which is 1, or you could do B take away A, and that will also give you your vectors here. So here's my A to B. Here's my A to C. Now the next step shows you how you find a normal perpendicular to 2 vectors. And we're going to use this formula. So here's my first vector, here's my second vector. Now this is not on the formula sheet for ACE, so you do need to learn this, but I wouldn't learn it like this. What I would learn is how you actually figure these numbers out. So for the top row here, what we do is we cover up our top row, so our L and P, and then we look at the other numbers, and we do this times this, minus this times this. Now when we go to the middle entry here, I want to cover up the middle row here, and then I'm going to go down, and I do n times p minus l times r. So I'm doing like cross multiplication here with the row that I'm not using. Now if I go to the bottom row, I want to go down, which takes me back to the top because there's nowhere else to go. So I would do l times q minus m times p. Now I'm going to do that with this question up here. So 1, negative 3, negative 1, 2, negative 1, 4. I'm going to write them a little closer together so we can see exactly what we're doing. So I cover up the top row and I do negative 3 times negative 4, take away negative 1 times negative 1. And that's the first part for my normal. Now for the middle row, cover up the middle row, go down a little bit, negative 1 times 2 is negative 2, and then 1 times negative 4, my other diagonal, I'm going to subtract negative 4, which gives me 2. And for the last row, we cover up the last row, we go back to the top, 1 times negative 1 is negative 1, and negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, and negative 1 take away negative 6 is 5. You've got to be very careful when you're doing this because there is a lot of negatives here. There's negatives within the vectors and also the fact that you're subtracting. The other thing you've got to be a little careful of is, and don't confuse this with the dot product. When we had the dot product for 2 vectors, we just multiplied and then added the answers together. So make sure you're doing the right method at the right time. And this is just confirmation of what we just said there a second ago. Now once we have this, we can link this back to a plane. So my normal here, I can use those same numbers to find the equation of the plane. Now x, y, and z I can actually figure out, I can use to find out what k is. So if I go back to the start of the question, I actually had 3 points here. So if I substitute in one of those points, that should confirm what the value of k is. So 1, 2, 3 looks the easiest one. So substitute in 1, substitute in 2, substitute in 3, and we get 30. So our equation is this, equals 30. Now actually if you've got time to make sure you haven't made a mistake, you should also substitute in another point into that same equation, and you should also get 30. If you get a different number, it means that you made a mistake somewhere, and hopefully you could go back and find the answer to that. Having done that, you should now be able to do some more questions from 13b, as you can see at the bottom of the screen there.